lot for the community. It meant a lot because I couldn't fathom how we're the first Brookwell team to win the East Berks Prem.
That puts my mind at rest because you are very forward thinking, you know exactly how we need to push the league forward. I think I need more people, more teams and more people involved in East Berks to buy into that. I try and shed the stigma of this, thuggery, which we're not, that ain't us, but also at the same time you must have that little bit of bastardry.
But at the same time, I'd like to think, A, I'm lucky, and B, I'm quite good at chatting to the boys and just airing it out and telling them exactly why I need to do what I need to do. And he liked the team, he liked that we want to win, he liked a bit of the skullduggery as well. He likes being a little bit of a naughty boy that you need to tell shush. we had a few sleepless nights afterwards down the gay club, and
does it help freshen up the season? Obviously, when you're in the grind of the league, and you're seeing the same faces over and over again. Now to have this different type of competition and a different focus to aim at as well.
Yeah, mate, he's a problem. He'll chase the last ball. He'll finish chances that you wouldn't expect him to finish. He'll run after balls that you wouldn't expect him to go for. Everyone would buy into that. If you're that enthusiastic about wanting to take everything, everyone would buy into that. This is probably going to upset Luke and Gary when I say this, but I think he's a little bit more of a Britwell than he is an old Windsor lad. But Britwell's, we're a bit more on the scally side, we're a bit more like the lovable road.
Climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines, and I'm through passing time. I choose stacking dimes, you snooze half the time while I move passing by.
Good morning, John Brennan, Team Britwell FC manager, and I'd say I'm an East Berks sage now. I've been in here for so many years.
I'm Rob Stevens, fixture secretary and committee member on the East Berkshire League, helping to promote the league and the game in the wider area. Start with the champions, John. Obviously, a question first to you, Phil. So, what would it mean to you to finally win that Premier Division title last season?
Oh, last season when we won it, the elation, I won't lie, was a lot. We had a few sleepless nights afterwards down the gay club and having a few drinks amongst the boys, and it meant a lot, not just to me, to the players, because a lot of them players are community based. It meant a lot to our chairman as well, Sean Wright, who's been running the Chicken Ranch and been running the Britwell Parish Council for as long as I've been alive. Since my nan moved down here in 74, I think he's been there since 72. No, my nan moved in 72, he's been there since 74. It's the opposite way around, so a long time. So it meant a lot for the community. It meant a lot because I couldn't fathom how we're the first Brookwell team to win the East Berks Prem, considering the sides we've had down the years, like the Moulders and the Nicky Swans and that. But listen, we got it over the line, we got it done, and I'm happy to say that I was steering that ship when we brought it into the harbour.
Speaking as team manager, how much hard work and commitment do you have to put in to get those results week in, week out, in what is a tough division to get that title?
The hard work, I can't draw comparisons from what other people do, but the guys that play with me know I do a lot. There's been many a times in the group chat when the boys will say, I don't sleep. I'll give birth to my little boy at 2 in the morning, and then about 2:05 I was booking pitches for our game on the weekend. That's just how I'm wired up. So it's not like I do it because it's hard work. I just do it because this is just how I am.
So obviously they say, the old saying is it's hard to win it, even harder to retain it.
Yeah.
Now comes part 2 of that challenge to keep a hold of the Premier Division title.
Yeah.
What have you done over the summer to ensure that you're in a better place?
We've had a good recruitment, we've had a good pre-season, and I think more so, not so much even the recruitment and the guys are buying into what we do. I think it's the lessons that we learned from last season, and all of the lads that we got involved know exactly like I do, like where we went right, where we went wrong, and how we rectified that. I think that's going to stand us in good stead because everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet. Everyone knows it. Like I say sometimes, I hold my hands up and go, "Oh, look, I got that wrong." But everyone says to us, "No, look, we all sort of see that. We've seen how that transpired, and we know how to fix that." So it's nothing that's not in our power to sort out, and I'm comfortable. I sleep a little bit easier knowing that we got it covered. We'll be all right.
You say you learnt from the lessons of last season. Potentially one of those was a little mid-season wobble at the turn of the year when you lost a few points. Is that something that you're going to need to learn from to avoid?
Yeah. Listen, every team, you're going to win, you're going to lose. Don't matter if you're playing the best team or the worst team. In these leagues, no one gives you nothing. And East Berks, I've known for a long time, every single game you've got to take as that game. Not, we beat them this much last time or they beat us this much the time before. Every game's different. So I've just got, more so I've learned that, trust in what I'm doing. don't take too many things into consideration. Just try and be more tunnel vision, because I pride myself on being that way anyway, but I need to be a bit more of it. And also trust in the lads, trust in my boys, and know that, you know, come on mate, we'll get it done. If we have a blip one week, I know that next week we're going to rectify it and not be too... I'm impulsive, and sometimes I do impulsive things, and that can reflect on how we go on a run. So I like to think we're learning from that. All the boys know that's, you know, this time around, rather than me making impulsive decisions, the boys might go, no, come on John, we got this. And then I think, yeah, you know, we all band. We're a bunch of good mates. It's a good mob. It's a very, very good mob.
Do you find it hard to maintain the player focus and concentration? Because obviously everyone expects Brickwell to be the bookies' favourites to win this league. You expect to win more games than you're going to lose this season. Do you try and, is there anything that you do to stop players' minds from wandering or turning up games just thinking they're going to win?
Every single week, I'm not going to lie, every single week I have to do some man management, some talking to certain players, hoping, you know, explaining my decisions to someone so that I know that they buy into what I'm trying to do. I'll say this and this might lead to this, but, you know, like I just said, every single week's a different horse for a different course, and it's a different game. It's a different, not our setup, but it's a different way that we go and tackle it. So each week we do have them problems, and it's more amplified now because we've got more players and we've got a bit more of a depth in our squad. But at the same time, I'd like to think, A, I'm lucky, and B, I'm quite good at chatting to the boys and just airing it out and telling them exactly what I need to do. And I've been very lucky that they take that on board and they go, okay, I accept that, and we move. That's very lucky. Last season, that's how it panned out, and I'm praying and hoping that it pans out this way. But if it doesn't this season and people come or people go, then that is how it is. That's how it's meant to be, and things will level off organically.
So obviously the pre-season's over now. We're on the eve of the big kick-off. Do you think that you're in a better, a stronger position right now than you were at this time last season? You mentioned just the depth of the squad there. Is that something that you've worked on to improve?
Do you know, this pre-season I actually said we probably don't even need to add anyone. I've never said that before in my life, because I've got this little knack of getting players all the time. And previous seasons we've signed every Tom, Dick and Harry, and it's been difficult trying to manage it, but then things shed off. But this pre-season we actually said we weren't going to bring anyone in, but lo and behold we did. We've brought more players in, and in fairness, it's worked out lovely. It's worked out very good, and I don't want to sound big-headed or like over-optimistic, but I do think we're in a better place this season than we were last season, definitely.
Is that because you mentioned previously that you're not just targeting retaining that title this year? You want to win it all, and some bigger, bulkier, more difficult cup competitions to win the season as well. That's going to be on your agenda. For me, personally, I was disappointed last season, and when I speak to the collective, because it's a team game, we all got to work together. We're all cogs in a wheel, and when I speak to every one of them, they all sound pretty much the same. We went to the Slough Town Cup final, we watched that game. We went to another couple of cup finals and showcase games, and we're looking thinking, this should be us. We should be the stellar team. And for everyone to think the way I'm thinking surprised me a little, because I didn't think that everyone would have that motivation after toppling the mountain of winning the Prem. But I am pleasantly surprised that everyone said the same. We need to clear up with the squad that we've got. We need to win everything, and that's the pressure that I put on us, and that's the pressure we put on ourselves. If it ends up difficult, then we know how to organise around that, and hopefully we'll come through. Fingers crossed. Is that the ultimate aim coming out of the Chicken Ranch this season? Yes, you're the champions, but you just mentioned that you want to be the stellar team. You want to be the dominant force in East Fox League football.
Yeah, we want to dominate. If we didn't think this way, then already we're 5% less than last season, because we done well last season. But for me, I think it was underwhelming. There was cups there that we should have won the lot, and I said to the boys this season, I'm not even thinking about we need to win this, we need to win that. We win the lot. We want to win everything. That is the ultimate mindset. If that doesn't fixate in your head, then get out of our team and get out of our squad. And no one's saying, maybe that's not for me. No one's really saying. Everyone would buy into that. If you're that enthusiastic about wanting to take everything, everyone would buy into that. It's just as time goes by, we'll really see who's 100 miles an hour and who's doing 50 miles an hour.
Obviously, we're just a few hours away then from the big kick-off. Your first game of the season, away at Frontline. What do you expect from there? What do you know about Frontline's summer?
Good side. I've got a lot of time for Imran. I know he's got a few boys that he's had down the years that always cause us problems. You know, Dale, Thomas, Dwayne, Herbert, and they've got a few tricky players. They had a Polish lad on the flank last year. He was double tidy. He was a problem. And they like to play at Burnham Grammar. They like to play, but we're not unbeknown to playing a bit of football. We're not unbeknown to playing areas and push and squeeze. So it's a nice problem for us to try and solve. It's all about problem solving in these games, and I want us to go out there and get a good result. I want us to go out there and make a statement. But at the same time, I just want us, front line, me, Imran, everyone to enjoy themselves, and the Sparks to have a good opening day.
I think the fixture last season led to one of the special moments of the first showcase match for us.
It's a great game. Yeah,
quite a special match, quite a special goal in that match as well. I believe from front line. What do you?
I think he got goal of the season for that, didn't he?
I think he did. Yeah, on the
rocket.
Yeah,
I forget the player's name, but it was an absolute rocket for about 35 yards. And Tom, who was in goal for us that day, Tom Edmonds, he said to me, "Oh, I couldn't really do much about that." But and he saved a pen. Yeah, and then we ended up winning it. I think we ran out 4-2, but it was a lot tighter than that. If they would have scored that goal, that could have been if they'd have scored the pen, that could have been a difficult game. But it was full of ups and downs, trials and tribulations. It was a proper Brickwell game. The whole season pretty much was like that. So that game optimised our season pretty much.
We know where potentially your biggest threat is going to come from your old Windsor and Sinks Harbour, and it's been that way now for a number of years. But could Frontline be one of these teams that are getting closer to the big three and maybe then starting to push themselves into that gap?
I definitely think someone like Imran running them, and the structure they've got as a club, the standards that they set, there's no doubt that they're going to try and close the gap. No doubt about it. And I would never take them for granted and say they're not in there, because Frontline are a difficult opposition, and I know that Imran will be trying to recruit the right players to make them that bit better and push them into the top 3-4 bracket, so they're challenging on all fronts, and I fully expect that today. I fully expect us to be playing the very best front line that we can.
Let's look back on the big rivals. And we said for a while now it's normally the big three. You've had a bit of a scene with Old Windsor already this season in taking one of their star players from last year.
Harry coming over was a coup for us. I'm not going to act like I'm not happy that he's come, because he's a good lad. It's probably going to upset Luke and Gary when I say this, but I think he's a little bit more of a Brickwell than he is an Old Windsor lad. Do you know what I mean by that?
In what respect do you mean?
Old Windsor are they're gentlemanly. They're a good bunch, very good bunch of boys. But Brickwell's, we're a bit more on the scally side. We're a bit more like the lovable rogue, and I think Harry's a bit more like that. And because he's not from Windsor per se, he's from Feltham, and one of the reasons he said when he come over with us is he liked the team. He liked that we want to win. He liked a bit of the skullduggery as well. He likes being a little bit of a naughty boy that you need to tell shush, and we've got a lot of that. So the Brickwell, I suppose, I try and shed the stigma of this, thuggery, which we're not. That ain't us, But also at the same time, you must have that little bit of bastardry, skullduggery to in order to push on and be the best team that you can.
And it's not just the fact that their loss is your gain. He is gonna add something to Brickwell's side, isn't he? He's a goal scorer, and his pace and his energy all will cause trouble for defences everywhere.
Yeah, mate, he's a problem. He'll chase the last ball. He'll finish chances that you wouldn't expect him to finish. He'll run after balls that you wouldn't expect him to go for. He's an honest player. What I like to consider an honest player, because everything he has, he'll give you, and if he hasn't got anything like his best, then he'll tell you.
So what about Old Windsor? Obviously, they've lost Harry, and in recent seasons, always the bridesmaids, getting so close but never quite getting the hands on the title themselves. What do you expect from them? Are they going to be your nearest challengers this season?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I mean, they've got the what would you call? They've got the pedigree, because they've won the Prem previously. They won the Slough Town last year. We had some very good games with them over the seasons. I think it was like 3 draws, and we got 1 win at their place. So they're close games, and they've got a few good players that have signed up with them that will still be there this season. Luke Wade lives and breathes Old Windsor, so it's not like he's going to come in there and try and be also Rans. He's going to want to try and do better than what Darren and that did last season. So I know that they're going to be a close competitor. I'm not going to say they'll be our closest, because I'd be doing the rest of the teams are wrong by saying that, but they'll be up there. They're going to give us a game for sure.
It's a strange one, because obviously they started a bit slowly. Then the management changes. Darren Wareham came in, who's obviously no longer there, but they seemed to get stronger as the season went on, highlighted with that trilogy with Singh Saba and finally getting their hands on their Slough Town Cup. So for them to change again in the summer, obviously with Luke Wade now in, they've got their reasons for that, but it's all twist and turn at the moment again with
Well, they're a similar situation with us. It's just they had a different pattern. So we started fast, had a blip, and then come back. Whereas they started slow, and then they come back. Then maybe back in the season they had a slight little dip. But they won the Slough Town. They become runners up in the Prem. They've done very, very good in each cup, the County Cup namely, where they went very far in the County Cup. That's why they had such a backlog of fixtures towards the back end of the season. So you got to hold your hands up and say well done to Darren. I'll give a massive applause to Gary and Luke because they've been there for us. I think they're older in religion the time they've been old wins up. So I'll fully rate and respect what they do over there. They're a good bunch. I've said to them many a times we should all go out for a drink, but you know what it is when you competitors. I don't think that we think it's a good idea. They'll go down the gay club or go on the old Windsor club and have a few drinks, but we will do. We'll catch up eventually.
Is that one of the fixtures, like the fixtures that when they come out at the start of the season you look for? Like when is it going to be Britwell wins at the Ranch or Windsor Britwell down at the Rec? Because it's almost one of those things it's in the calendar. It's a highlight. Everyone looks forward to those games.
I know most people would. Most people look at, if anyone that takes an interest in our league was looking at, when is it Old Windsor versus Singside, when is it Britwell versus Old Windsor, they look for these things. Me, I don't look past any game. I look at, first game's front line, then I look at the next game after that. That is exactly how I'm wired up that way. I wouldn't look in past any other team. I'm looking at front line right now. I couldn't even tell you we've got next week. That's it. And
what about Sing Saba then, the sort of the third club in this wheel? Potentially not as strong as they have been, but they're notorious winners. They're not going to give up anything lightly, are they?
No way. And they're notorious game players. So I've heard a lot of noises about they might not have players, or and then Zufi's took his boys over to Aldermaston. I know there's going to be an underlying agenda. They'll have some little trapdoor that they're going to creep through. They always do. Zufi's like Teflon. You shoot him with bullets, he seems to zigzag a lot. He's like Neo from the fucking Matrix. But I don't anticipate 1 minute. When we play them, I'm expecting the very best Sing Saba. And whatever happens.
We noticed last season with the likes of Griff's, Ivor Heath, that the chasing pack are starting to close down. And this season we've got a new member to that, Charvy Reserves. All change. Their loss is our game basically. And we've got their reserve team now in our Premier. What do you expect from them? Are they going to be competitors in the top end of the table?
If I'm going to be honest, this might upset a few. I don't think they'll be up top end of the table. Definitely not. They'll be mid-table. They'll win more than they'll lose. Definitely. But I also think it's going to be how the dual reg situation works out. Where obviously the first team are in the Thames Valley Prem, their reserve team are in our Prem. Some weeks they might not have a game. Some weeks they might not have a player available for this team. They might have it available for that team. So there'll be some freak results, and they're going to cause a few upsets. Definitely. But if I was going to say that they'll be up in the top 5, 6, no, but they're going to be pushing. They're going to be pushing some good teams.
And any predictions from you? What sort of the established mid-table bunch? I suppose you've got Ivor Heath, who will always give teams credit. Close to getting to a cup final themselves. Finished the season strong. Hype Train won the President's Cup last year in their 100th match as a club. These are all teams. KS Griff, who were up there for a long time last season. These are all sides who on their day can take top.
Each and every one of them that you just mentioned can all play each other and could beat each other on any given day. So it is, and could beat any other team on any given day, depending on if you're taking things lightly. If you get up a little bit late in the morning. If you don't warm up very well, you don't take these teams with the respect that they're due. They will turn you over, and every one of them. That's a strong, solid core. There'll be matches of interest to watch because, like you just said, Griff can beat Hype Train. Hype Train could beat Griff. Hype Train could beat Southcote could beat any one of the top 4. They're a promising side. We've got some good teams in there. Charvy, throw them in the mix. KS Griff, solid. It's just, it's going to be a good division to watch.
And I guess potentially the two anomalies in the Premier Division this season are Southcote, promoted from Division 1 last year, got to the Ascot Cup final, beating some established Premier Division teams to get that far. And then the brand new side are Surrey Rangers, who we don't really know a lot about at the moment. Do you have any thoughts on the two of those?
Well, Southcote, Teresa, I've got a lot of time for. She's a very good gaffer. She's easily approachable, and I know that she's going to want to try and push her team on. She's got a bit of a vision, so she's going to want to make them better. So I fully anticipate them being a problem this season. Surrey Rangers are a complete unknown. They're an actual anomaly. Like, I don't know anything about them. I looked online. I think I see a Sunday side that won Division 3 of the Surrey League, but it's not the same. They're Surrey Park Rangers, not Surrey Rangers, so it's not them. I couldn't find anything about them. So again, I'll be keeping an eye on their results. What's their first game today? Surrey Rangers. Should we have a little check?
No, yeah.
Who have they got today? Up and coming fixtures. Surrey Rangers today have...
I think they actually got one today.
No, the 3 week. Their first game is the following week, and they've got Old Windsor. What a baptism of fire that is! So I'm going to keep an eye on that on the 10th, because that will give me some sort of idea as to how we're looking.
We were like in the media. We like giving predictions, and I'm going to say mine now. I think Brickwell will win the Premier Division again this season. Is that something that you're? You can't really say you're expecting it to happen, of course, because you respect your rivals. But that's the goal. That's the aim of the Chicken Rats this year.
We just want to push on all fronts. Like I say, I'll take every game as that game, then after. So it's the same with what we want to achieve. We want to look at, if we get further down the line in the season and we look like we're in a comfortable position or like a favourable position where we could push for that, then I'll go and put the foot down and we will drive for it. At the moment, everything's all up in the air, everything's all open, so we just look at trying to do as best we can with where we're at the moment. So I'm not going to lie and say I don't want us to win the Prem. Yes, I want us to win the Prem, but I'm not taking anything else out of the table as well. I want to win the lot, everything.
Let's move on to Division 1 then, and for different reasons. This is quite a fascinating division this year because you've got probably Old Windsor Reserves who, again, for a few years now have set the standard at that level. Yeah. But you've got teams coming down from the Premier Division last season. You've got new teams coming into the league that we're hearing good things from, and also teams that got better year on year in last season. So start with Old Windsor Reserves. I'm going to put my neck out on the line there and say any team that finishes above them will probably win the league. Talking about Old Windsor Reserves, can we just pay homage and pay respect to what Gary and Luke are doing at Old Windsor? Because not only have they got two very good sides, they do it year on year. And the people say, we've had, I won't name, but we've had people that we know that have moaned, Old Windsor Reserves, they shouldn't be in our league. They can't go up to the Prem because they're first teams in the Prem. But you can't lambast a club for having a good side. Yeah. You can't lambast a club for having a good squad. And mate, I'll tip my hat to them fully. I applaud them to the fullest because they've done fantastically well. And you're bang right. Whoever finishes above Old Windsor Reserves is going to win that league. I think that's spot on. It is credit to the Wade family and everyone involved at Old Windsor that they can put out two competitive sides week in, week out.
Yeah, massively.
So I mean, can we see anyone beating Old Windsor Reserves? Let's look at the two teams that came down last season, Cressix and Stoke Poges. We've already touched upon they took points off teams in the Premier Division last year. Can we see that either of them bouncing straight back?
Well, where we are right now, just looking at the shirts behind us, Stoke Poges are a very good side. I mean, they beat my Brickwell team last year on a good surface, and they're a great bunch of lads. So, and I know that Darren wouldn't be resting on his laurels. He'd be trying to get players in. He works hard at what he does. He gives them the best opportunity to be the best that they can. Gives them the best facilities around. Their media outlet is pucker. Their clubhouse and their pitches are their own. So every player that comes over here knows that they're a part of something, an actual organised family club where they can say that they're a part of. So I fully expect Stoke Poges to be up there. I fully expect that Stoke Poges to give Old Windsor Reserves a run for their money in that league.
And it sounds like, obviously, despite the fact they did suffer relegation last year, they're still together. It sounds like their numbers are growing. Yeah. So they're going to be a force. What about Cressix? I mean, potentially lost a few players, maybe need a little bit more time to refund themselves.
I haven't heard any noises from the boys at Cressix, so I haven't touched base with any of them, to be honest, but that's a slight on my part because they're good lads and we got on well last season, so I really have to, that's reminds me, when I get out of it I'm going to give them a bell and see how they're getting on. But so you say they lost a couple of players?
I think just hearing things, obviously time will tell now the season has kicked off, but I mean sometimes it happens, doesn't it, when you suffer relegation, things change at a football club, you might lose players, you might lose management. It is hard to stay united and go again, isn't it?
What I will say about that mob, they win or lose, they all stuck together. You could play them 1 week to the next week. Whether they've won or whether they've lost, they're all got the same camaraderie. They're all the same bunch of pals. They're on the same level. So I'd like to think that with Cressix, the same with Stoke Poges, that one step back is probably going to make them take 2 steps forward. I think that they could end up making Stoke Poges and Cressix stronger this season because they feel like, all right, it's a bad situation where we come down, but it's not the worst situation because we're in a strong stead to push on and try and win the league, go for honours like your President's Cup, like the League Cup, like the Challenge Cup, like the division. So it's an easier proposition to put to players to recruit them to say, look, we could be going for this, we could be going for that. Players buy into that, and I fully expect Stoke Poges and Cressix to be up there pushing.
Another name who I think is going to take a lot of plaudits this season, as they did last season, particularly as it went on, was Bayless United.
Yes.
Had a lot of injuries at the start of the season. Didn't really put up any trees to begin with, but seems to get stronger and stronger. And obviously highlighted by obviously beating that yourselves, that incredible come from behind win in the League Cup last year.
Yeah, that was mate. Honestly, we were 3-0 up at half time, cruising. Thought it was in the bag. Second half, they come out and shell shocked us, to be honest. And the guys at Bayless are sound as a pound, good guys. They've got the right idea with their club as well.
They're established, aren't they? I think this is their 4th season out in the East Park League.
So their 4th season in the East Park. They're not like the new kids on the block anymore. But what I like is, so where they started from Instagram and just a couple of pals kicking together at the park, now they've sort of grown and they're trying to become a more established club, not just a football team, an established club. They're talking about a youth section there. You see a lot of media coverage on social media where they've got their training exercises, youth set up. All of their guys got nice tracksuits. They all look well presentable when we turn up to the games and stuff. They're very, very approachable when it comes to pre and post match interviews, media stuff for the East Park's Twitter. Yeah, you got to raise your hat and raise your glass to what they're doing over there as well. They're a good side.
And then that incredible League Cup win was actually voted the highlight of the season, the best moment of the season last season. So definitely get at us on our East Berkshire League socials and follow what we're doing. You can watch all the highlights there. I'm going to throw a new name at you, John. Reading Tigers. Hearing some interesting things from them. Their results in pre-season look good.
Yeah.
They sound like they're a big physical side, and with a hint of international players in there as well.
Yeah.
So they could be an interesting addition to East Berkshire League.
Oh yeah, definitely. Do you know what I'd like to have if it did come about? If we had a League Cup draw where Reading Tigers played KS Griff, because they're both predominantly Polish. They're both predominantly a Polish side, but Reading Tigers have got a number of players, as Griff do. They've got it's very cosmopolitan, their sides. But yeah, it's predominantly Polish. They're very robust, strong, and they try and play quite well. They try and play the right way. So they're vociferous on the sideline. Some of their players are very outwardly going, but you need to be that way in order to win, I suppose. So they're a good addition, very good addition to Division 1.
Yeah, the season starts today with Old Windsor Reserves against Reading Tigers at the Recreation Ground. That could be an early clash between two title contenders right there.
Yeah.
I want to give a little mention as well to Sandhurst Town. I know the work that Jordan and Darren are doing there. They've got some good numbers this season, and I think they might cause 1 or 2 surprises. The likes of some teams like Baylis did last year. So, John, we'll move on to the cup competitions, and one thing that we are very pleased to see is the return of Thames Valley League's sides being allowed to enter again.
Yes.
It's brought some fresh competition in and some clashes with some old faces as well.
Yeah, so it's from Division 1 down because the Prem teams were restricted in entering the externals due to the numbers in their division and obviously the worry of COVID. But it's good that they've done Division 1 and down because, as we know, Division 1 from the Thames Valley League is a good standard. You look at SB Phoenix last season, who went to the County Cup final and they won the division eventually, and they've gone into the Prem, started well in the Prem. I mean, they was very, very unlucky against Charlevy last week. I went and watched that game. So, no, not last week, the week before, sorry. So, yeah, it's good. It's good for the externals. It's very good for the East Sparks, good for teams like myself. If I'm being biased, I say it's good for us because we want to play different sides, want to test ourselves against other teams, and it's different challenges to try and get over. So, yeah, I'd say it's good all round in local football.
Does it help freshen up the season, honestly, when you're in the grind of the league and you're seeing the same faces over and over again, now to have this different type of competition and a different focus to aim at as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's, where you've been around football as long as we have, like the teams that have entered, like your Slough Heatings and your Maidenhead Towns, they're not actually new teams, but it's teams that we just haven't seen in a long while. These are like ex-East Sparks teams. So they had not a little bit of needle, but like a little bit of spice to them games where you think, right, let's see how good they got now. Let's see how good we got now. And it's nice to revisit old places like the Polish club, like Bisham Abbey, like places like that. For any team that do draw these sides, so yeah, it's very, very good for the teams in East Berks. Us being biased because obviously we're East Berks statesmen, and it's good for the external cups because if you win them cups, you can say, look, we beat the best talent pool that we could beat.
Yeah. One thing I'm really looking forward to this year is the Slough Town Cup final. Always a highlight in the calendar on Good Friday. Big crowd at the 1878 Stadium in Brennan. We were witness to a fantastic final last year, Old Windsor and Singsar, and this year the competition celebrating its 100th birthday as well.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a big thing for them being the 100th year. I think it'd be a big thing, obviously, because losing Ken Gom a little while back and him being a big Slough Town statesman and sort of he was sort of the founder of the Slough Town Challenge Cup, really. Back in the day, he drove everything, but obviously they've still got Steve Law and Bill Hing and yourself and guys helping them out to make it still as lucrative as it is. But the Slough Town's amazing. Everyone loves the Good Friday down there. Yeah. We love getting the crowd down there, and if I'm talking, I shouldn't really say this, but if I'm saying about I want Brookwell to be there, I'd anticipate we'd have about 500 people there.
You want to be on the pitch rather than
we want to be there. We want to be there. Depending on who we're playing, well, it don't even matter who we're playing. I know for a fact if we get there, we'd have about over 500 people there. I mean, you've been at the Chicken Ranch and we've had over 200 people there. We could play. You could have 2 donuts playing ping pong at the ranch, and you'd get 50 pissheads come out and watch them. We're lucky like that. Brickwell is a good community. We do get behind each other. I've been lucky with the help with sponsors that have helped us to cover all our overheads and stuff. So to pay them back would be lovely with something like the Slough Town. That would be good.
Just while we're on Slough Town Cup, just keep an eye on FC Beaconsfield. Obviously, they're a team that's currently in the Nether League. Again, another former East Berkshire, being successful now in non-league football. They could be a team that you might want to avoid in that competition. I see them, and I've seen that they've got Singsar in the quarter-final. So one of them's going to eliminate each other. Yes, that's good. Baptiste and his boys, they know how to ball, and he knows how to bring a player in. So I better know how to work them team sheets. One of my personal aims being involved in the league is the County Cup, newly organised as the Charles 12-3 trophy this season. I was at that game, Old Windsor, the quarterfinals last year, narrow loss to Aston Clinton, and on another day they would have won that. One of my personal hopes is to see one of our teams, because we know how good we are, get to that final and really represent the East Berkshire League and show what the East Berkshire League is all about.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to take a lot of things into consideration now. You need a little bit of luck. You need the planets to align and come your way. You need to have a decent squad. And sometimes you just need to have everything running your way on that day. And I mean, I've played in the County Cup numerous times. I've won it a couple of times on Sundays with Alpha. And it's the same thing. We had some good results along the way. We had a bit of luck along the way. And I'm hoping that luck comes to one of these East Berks teams, because I fully think that last season we were unlucky that one of our East Berks teams didn't win that. Like SB Phoenix got to the final, they ended up losing on pens to...
Let's be honest, there is no real difference to an SB Phoenix. We kind of know what they're about to the likes of yourself.
No. I mean, they're stronger this season. They've added Ryan Adams, they've added Sam Adams, who are two strong players who used to play in our league with Richards Park. They went over to Maidenhead Town. They played for Hashtag United, who was like step 5, gone up to step 4 now. So they're players of a decent standard. And they lost narrowly to Charlby last week. And watching that game, I think the best teams in the East Berks beat them.
Is it a hard competition to actually focus on, though? Because it's a long grind. It starts next week, the first round. Final's not till March. And as you touched on earlier in the show, it does have a knock-on effect with your fixtures, like we saw with Old Windsor first team last season. Yeah, it is a slog. There's no doubt about it. It will put you under stress and strain, puts your squad under strain. But if you're fighting on all fronts, that's what you've got a squad for. They say squads win your cups and teams win your games. So that's just how you've got to plan for it. And then anything in the long run, anything that you'd like to see from the East Berkshire League, or maybe not involving any of the teams at the moment, but the league itself, what we can do over this season and going into next season?
I think that what we miss a little is, do you remember a guy called Ray Mingle?
Yep.
He was the old fixture secretary. Yep. But he was so enthusiastic in what he did with the Sparks, in terms of, like, sometimes we'd have a week where he'd do a roundup of who was playing that day, and he'd have the game of the week, and he'd have a few paragraphs about their form, how they did the week before, how they're looking for the season. And I think it made me go online and see these documents and have a look and have a read. And sometimes it spurs teams on. I mean, I remember he said a few years back when we played, I was running the Huntercombe team and we played the Brickwell, who I run the Brickwell, relinquished it, went over to Old Windsor with Mick. It's cut a long story short, we ended up Huntercombe playing Brickwell in a cup quarter final over at the ranch. And I remember him calling Baker, Ben Baker's my good pal, he was playing with them, and he called him a flat track bully. So he only scores against pony teams. And then he scored against us at the Chicken Ranch, which is basically my back garden. And that sort of put paid to that. I remember him saying that mingle. So that has, I'd like to see a little bit more of that, but in fairness, I can't knock the work that you yourself do. You push this league hard, mate. You're a massive drive for this league, and I can't thank you enough for what you do. Because we've got a lot of draconian sages on our league that are set in their ways, and they need to be a bit more forward thinking. And I like to think that with you in there, that puts my mind at rest, because you are very forward thinking. You know exactly how we need to push the league forward. I think I need more people, more teams and more people involved in these box to buy into that and help us. Like always saying about the pre-season predictions and how your side's looking and how your squad's coming together. We asked a few teams, only like 3 or 4 come back. We need a bit more enthusiasm. Need everyone to get involved.
Yeah, let's hope that enthusiasm goes. And guys out there, definitely get us our website, www.eastberkshirefl.co.uk. We're on Twitter, East Berkshire FL. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well. Keep following this show as well. We're going to have some guests on over the course of the year. If I can, obviously, while you're on, John, pencil you down for some predictions. You're going to say Brickwell are going to league. Obviously, you're not going to pick against your own side. What about Division 1? Can you give us a prediction of who you think might actually be lifting that trophy come May?
Yeah. So can I just add before I forget? I need to thank Rob Austin as well, because he's done massive work, and we've made big strides with him involved in helping the committee, helping the website, and obviously bringing the sort of media attraction and the know-how, the niche that he's got into the league. So thank you, Rob Austin, and thank you, Hype Train, very much. But going back to Division 1. Division 1.
It's close, and there's so many. You could pick 3 or 4 teams here and still not get the right
answer. Well, we started off by saying about Old Windsor and Stoke Poges, but then you take into consideration Cressex, you take into consideration Box Elite, who are coming in there, who've got a very good setup there. They'll have a lot of money and enthusiasm pumped into them to make sure that they do well, because they was in the Prem a few years back, do you remember?
Yeah.
And then I think, because they're a privately run academy where, some mums and dads have got kids playing for them.
They're going to try and play football. They're going to bring something different to these
they're going to be shaped like an academy side, and they're going to want to do well. I know they're going to be results driven, because that's going to be, look at what you can aim for as a senior side, so they're going to be up there. If I was to put my neck out, I'd like to say, not because he's here, I'd like to say Stoke Poges are in for a shout. I'm going to say it's between Stoke Poges, Cressex and Old Windsor.
Yeah.
Old Windsor will always be up there because they've got a good core of lads. But if I was to say who I think we're going to win it, it's between, I'm going to say Stoke Poges. I'm going to do Darren 11 and say Stoke Poges.
It's going to be tight. I'm going to throw Baelish United in there as like a little each way bet. I think they're going to improve again this season, and they're going to continue to be a growing force. Yeah.
The only reason I didn't say them is because they, as much as they can be fantastic, they can have that Jekyll and Hyde side where they can be mediocre. And I don't want to seem like I'm mugging them off by saying that. It's only just when I look at their results. Some results have gone in and I think, how the bloody hell did they beat us? But in fairness, they beat us fair. They beat us well. And even the game we had at the Ranch, that was a pucker game. We won that in like extra time. That was, they were a good team. I think on their day, they're spot on. But if they don't have one of their days, could be one of them days,
Well, John, obviously, best of luck to you for the course of the season. Starting front line today as well. Great to have you on the show as always. And no doubt we'll get you back on during the course of the season.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Poges podcast. We've got a little addition for you today. We're going to do the draw for the first round of the East Berkshire League Cup. The draw today is going to be for the 11 teams in Division 1. So there'll be 5 games and one lucky side that will move straight through to the last 16. I'm here with John Brennan, the manager of Brickwell FC. John, question for you first. Quite a surprising fact that the Brickwell FC have never won the League Cup in all their years.
No, I never won the League Cup, so it's a very well established cup. Some good teams have won it over the years. I can remember going to many a cup final when they've had some very good games. I mean, one of the last East Berkshire League Cups that Charlie won. Their first team was the League Cup. So yeah, it's a very well established cup, and it's one that's going to no doubt keep us happy with the final this year. It'll be well contested.
It's one of those, I think 16 Saba are now back-to-back winners. Only one of 5 teams to ever do that. Ivor Heath as well, who are in that this season. The most successful team in the competition. I think they won it 5 times now. When you prepare a side for a League Cup tie, is there anything that you do a little bit different to a league game?
For me personally, I think we approach the League Cup pretty much like we do the league, in that I don't quite know the teams that are playing well now. Obviously, there's a few Division 1 sides I'm not very that savvy on, and that's what caught us out last year when we went out to Baylis. If you don't do your homework and you don't look into it very well, if you take little things for granted, that you can get caught unstuck. So yeah, it's a very good competition in that respect.
Okay, so we're going to do the draw for the first round here. Again, it's for the 11 teams in Division 1. So John, if you want to give the bag a good shake.
Teams are in this bag.
We're in there.
All the teams in Division 1.
Should we just put out the home teams and you did the away then?
Yeah, perfect.
Just let you know that the ties are going to be played on September the 24th. So good luck to all of you, and the lucky winners will then join the Premier Division teams in the last 16. So
good luck. Very best of luck. First one.
Got ball number 7.
That's frontline reserves.
Frontline reserves. Imran.
Tricky place to go. You want to go to the ground ball front one?
So I'll draw out the away, yeah? Frontline reserves will be playing ball number 6.
Number 6, FC Baylis.
Oh, very good fixture. Very good fixture. Very good fixture.
Next up, bit of a derby one, that one.
Yeah, very good game.
Number 10.
Number 10 is Sandhurst Tigers.
Sandhurst.
Yeah, throwing in numbers. Be a surprise package this year.
And I'm pulling out number 11.
Stoke Poges.
Poges. Here we go, Dale.
On the road, Darren.
Thank you very much.
Get that second. Sorry, mate.
We've got number 9.
Number 9 is Reading Tigers.
Reading Tigers.
New side, be a tough place to go this season, I
New
think.
side, I do think that. Travelling over to Reading. We'll be playing number 8.
Number 8 is Old Windsor Reserves.
Oh, great fixture.
2 big sides going against each other there.
They've got that in the league, so that'll be the third time they play each other in this season.
We've got number 2.
Number 2 are AFC Reading.
Brand new side, don't know too much about them yet.
Don't know
Let's
anything
see
about
how
them.
they get on. But
Yeah.
home draw the cup also helps.
Let's hope that they surprise us, and also they'll be a good addition to the league. So they will be playing ball number 4.
Number 4 is Braywood Beavers.
Oh, good game.
Very
Good game. Braywood Beavers again are another unknown proposition for me, because I didn't really look into how they got on last year, and yeah, they don't. Would it be wrong me to say they don't really pull up trees? We don't
Well,
hit
do you know what? I actually saw them beat Eton Wick in the League Cup last season. It was a really battling game on quite a tough, heavy sort of winter pitch. The game went extra time, but they're no mugs. They can beat teams on the side. Actually got to the quarterfinals of the competition last season,
Yeah.
So don't write them off at your peril. I think.
Yeah, I spoke to their gaffer Jack a few times. Seems like a nice fella, so hopefully they put in the right direction and do well this year. Right, next one.
Go on. One more game. Number 5.
Number 5 is Eton Wick.
I've got 2 balls, so who am I pulling out? It's number 1.
Number 1 is Cressix.
Cressix, Eton Wick, Cressix. Ooh.
Good game. Eton Wick, one of the best pitches in the league.
Yeah,
Colin appreciates
some of the best facilities in the league. Yeah, Collins worked really hard over there. Got new goals. I think they aerate the pitch quite well, and they've done well over there. So that's a good game. Cressix coming down, solid foundations, like we mentioned earlier. So
Cup finalists last season as well, Chris, to win in the President's Cup.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So they've got a good cup pedigree.
So you complete the draw, just to confirm one lucky team that's going to go straight through to the last 16.
Last one on the bye.
Ball number 3.
It's Berks Elite.
Berks Elite went through.
Well done, Fabio. So yeah, good luck to all the teams in the draw. Those games will take place on Saturday, the 24th September. So just 4 weeks time from now.
Yeah, good luck for the season, everyone. Also.